Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you once again from the East Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart, also on the East Coast right now, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys on a big NBA Tuesday night slate. Paul George put up a pretty big stinker last night against the Pellies, so we did not have anyone guess that gift card prop correctly. So we are going to offer another one here today. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to the page. Jump in the comments with the total that you think we'll give you here in just a sec. And as always, if you need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. Nate, let's jump into that slate for tonight, Tuesday, the 27th.
Yep, 6 games on the docket. The first one will probably not be competitive with the tanking Thunder. Plus 11 at the Celtics. Celtics going to rest some guys in that one. Bucks are -9 at Hornets. The Blazers in desperate need of a win, -5 at the Pacers. The Nets are -6 at the Raptors. The Mavericks are +2.5 at the Warriors. And the game that first caught my eye is the Wolves -1.5 at Rockets. I guess the Wolves aren't getting, or maybe they're getting respect for beating the Jazz twice and going 4-2 in their last 6 games. But because it's a back-to-back situation, this spread is really exploitable right now. D'Angelo Russell has been playing on back-to-backs, though, since he came back with that knee injury. Karl Anthony Towns, nothing to necessarily indicate that he would sit. Even if he does, Naz Reid has been playing very well in a backup role. And yeah, the Wolves just overall are playing at a much higher level than the Rockets, who just ruled out John Wall for the season. Without John Wall, they are 3-18 straight up, and they have a 116 defensive rating. Even with John Wall, they have the worst clutch rating, -17.5 in the league. That can't get better without their point guard. And the things that the Wolves don't defend well is the 3-point line, but the Rockets are dead last in 3-point percentage. They just don't have shooters to spread around Christian Wood. Eric Gordon remains out. They're really missing him. So I'm looking at the Wolves, who, other than the 3-point issue, have actually been great defending down low lately. 9th in field goal percentage at the rim and in the mid-range, allowing the fewest points per game in the paint over their last 5 games. Surprising to note there. But yeah, more it's about their offense ramping up. They're 8th in pace, 13th in offensive rating since getting Russell back. Now they're up to 8th in offensive rating during that 4-2 stretch we mentioned. And they're 4-1 in close games. So the Rockets struggles in close games. The Wolves tend to pull these out right now. I like another close game, but the Wolves to emerge victorious against a team that just doesn't have anything.
Yeah, and the Wolves, the other trend that you can look at right now is when their 3 young stars play in Anthony Edwards, D'Lo, and Cat at the same time, they're pretty much a 500 team this year. That's only happened in like barely a quarter of their games, I think, maybe even less. So not a huge sample size, but I mean, it's something promising for the future. And like you said, Houston's just trending in the wrong direction. No more John Wall. I fully support that pick, even if I'm not necessarily going to tune into too much of that game tonight. A game I think I am going to be watching, honestly, because I love the Charlotte Hornets, even though I'm not going to be picking them tonight. They're taking on the Bucks at home. What I'm looking at here, obviously, Charlotte rather still without without LaMelo, without Gordon Hayward. They are coming off a nice national TV beatdown of the C's. Just wanted to get that in there real quick. And regardless of that, though, Nate, like they've lost 6 of their last 9. They're playing at the slowest pace in the NBA, which is something that a James Borrego team will do sometimes. But when you're backing it up with, the 24th best offensive rating, or basically one of the worst, 23rd in defensive rating, 23rd in rebound percentage. They allow the highest 2-point field goal percentage to their opponents. They allow the most 3-point attempts a game. They're bottom 8 in defensive rebounding overall as well. On the defensive boards, Milwaukee's top 10 in offensive board rebound percentage. So I just bring up all these stats about Charlotte because they do the opposite. Milwaukee does very, very well the things that Charlotte allows another offense to do. They shoot a ton of 3-pointers. Giannis gets to the rim and scores a ton of points in the paint, which Charlotte gives up a ton of those as well. And it's a 9.5-point spread. Milwaukee, although they're not fantastic on the road this year against the spread, they are fantastic against teams that are, 500 or below, which is what I expect of them tonight. And you look at Charlotte, who's 30-30 on the season, 22 of those 30 losses came by 9 or more points. So I feel pretty good about it. If you don't like 9.5 that much, just because you think, you see what Charlotte does at home, they are pretty good against the spread when they are at home. You can still tease that down and feel really, really comfortable, I think, about 5 or even 6 points.
Yeah, I mean, when it rains, it pours on the Hornets because of the type of defense they play, as you mentioned. Yeah, I think Zach Lowe mentioned in his last podcast, they give up the worst shot chart in the NBA and have really just lucked their way into a somewhat average defense. But the Bucks, yeah, if it's Giannis getting to the rim or if it's one of those 3-point shooters getting open, yeah, they're going to blow doors off teams, as we just saw with a really great Sixers defense. The Bucks are really peaking, and yeah, they have 20 wins against losing teams. They have 25 wins by double digits this year. I'd like to see another one here tonight against a Hornets team that's still shorthanded. Good call there. So the Nets got Kevin Durant back on Sunday. Your boy said it was fun coming off the bench, a nice little exercise, scoring 33 points in 28 minutes to down the Suns. Obviously a terrifying proposition when you have to try and guard Kevin Durant. So it's going to be a little bit of a different look for the Raptors after they beat the Nets on the second half of a back-to-back last week. That being said, I have a lot of respect for this Raptors defense. Mainly about their scheme. They're just very good. Second in terms of denying paint points. Pretty good at guarding the three-point line. OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam are decent guys to throw at Kevin Durant. And we just don't know what Durant's activities level is going to be. I mean, 28 minutes is not a huge workload. The Nets aren't necessarily gunning for that number one seed. They haven't been very reliable at all when listed as big favorites against good teams. In their last 3 against winning teams, when they're giving at least 5+ points, they have not covered. They have not covered in 10 of 18 games as road favorites, and they're 13-22 against the spread in conference. So I like the Raptors, maybe not plus 6.5, feeling super confident about that, but I would tease it up to plus 10 and feel great about that. Again, just like the Nets and Celtics game earlier last week, I don't see the Nets winning by double digits in this fashion. Their average margin is 4.5. They tend to just hang around and then try to close with one of those two guys, right? But the Raptors are second in second half points per game allowed. Okay, so they have the second best defense down the stretch. Their defense is number 2 this month overall. And at home, Tampa, they're allowing just 103.7 points per game, winning 7 of their last 10. So my most confident bet actually is again to take the Nets under. That paid off in that Celtics game. It's all the way at 120.5. I don't think they get there against a good Raptors team, and I think the Raptors can cover as well.
Wow, my boy went wicked hard on the show notes there. That is some good info. I really like the way you kind of pull out the fact that the Nets don't necessarily cover when they've got a decent sized spread against a really good team, which is what we've seen in recent history. So I'm totally with the Raptors. I like the way that they match up against Brooklyn and have for the last year, as we've mentioned in recent shows. So a game that I'm going to be watching, I think everybody's going to be watching, because it's basically Luka versus Steph. You've got the Warriors hosting the Dallas Mavericks on the second end of that back-to-back after we watched them lose last night to the Kings. Started out down 20-3 in that game. No Kristaps there. They're probably going to be shoveling out the same exact lineup as what they started last night. KP seems to be doubtful, even more than questionable right now. And the last time these two teams played, we obviously saw Steph and Luka go off. That game ended up at about 267 total points or so, which is interesting because these two teams have been playing very good defense lately, not as much offense, to be honest, other than Steph Curry and Luka Doncic specifically. But when these two teams face each other, you kind of see the stars go off and you see the offenses open up. This game I'm not necessarily eyeing. I think, it's about a 1.5, 2-point spread right now, possibly in favor of the Dubs, but we'll see what happens with Kristaps playing. So you want to really monitor that all the way up. Even right now, though, I think whether Kristaps plays or not, I am anticipating a nice game from both of these stars against each other in Golden State. So I'm looking right now. I'm not seeing too much Luka props available as we wait to see what happens with those lineups. But you can definitely get Steph and some of these Warriors for some pretty good props. I think right now Steph with 5.5 over 5.5 assists. That's something that he's already averaging that. Draymond, you can get 8.5 assists or 8.5 points over. I feel way more comfortable with over 8.5 assists for him than anything else. And then Steph's total points, rebounds, and assists at 44.5. I mean, he's averaging over, about 11 combined rebounds and assists a game. If you think he's going to get, 30 plus tonight, which I definitely do again in another game, I do think that like you can take his props and like that. And then I Luka's as well. And then as far as just the game in general, I like 225.5 over that for these two teams more than anything, just because I do expect there to be a good amount of offense opened up.
Yeah, and I'll go a step further and take your Warriors. I mean, they have the number one defensive rating their last 10 games. We obviously know what Steph is doing. He's done it for a long time against these Mavs, 33.7 points per game in his last 7 meetings. And I think the Warriors just have better personnel to try to contain Luka than the Mavs do to contain Steph. I would expect him. I mean, you can look at the head-to-head matchup, who's going to score more points. That's always a market you can get. I definitely would expect Steph to outscore Luka tonight. I would maybe take some under Luka props, but really we're just looking at a Mavs team that is 24th in defensive rating in that 10-game span and has not covered in 7 of their last 9, obviously on a back-to-back, obviously could be without their best rim protector. So I like the Warriors at home, which has been pretty reliable.
Yeah,
lately.
and real quick, I did want to throw out the gift card here because I think, like I said, we're expecting some fun between Luka and Steph. So in order to win the total gift card tonight, or the gift card total tonight, make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Jump in the comments and let us know what you think Luka and Steph's combined point total will be tonight. Looking at, as Nate said, you can find some fun props there as well in terms of who's going to score more. We want to know how much they will score together combined. So throw that in the comments after you are liked and subscribed to the page. And Nate, let's move on to, I believe we got one more quick hit for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this was a quick hit turned into a holy crap. The Blazers-Pacers game I was eyeing last night. In the dead of night, I think it opened at 226. The total, and I was trying to pounce on that, but it wasn't actually up at my preferred book. It opened at 234 this morning, and about 5 minutes later was at 239 because the Pacers are playing at the fastest pace in the league. The Blazers are not playing any defense. Pacers are down Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. There's going to be hella points scored in this one. I'm less comfortable about a 240 total, but I would tease it down. And I would also consider teasing the Blazers down to -1 and maybe getting the Raptors up to +10, as I said. I think Portland is due to get a freaking win. This is the start of a 6-game road trip, and the Bucks stops here if they want to make those playoffs.
Yep, gotta love a big slate offering you the possibility of a lot of options of teasing games and combining them together. So definitely gonna be looking to do that tonight.
And looking at a DFS perspective tonight, the Pacers shorthanded up front. So Edmund Sumner is going to be playing forward, listed as a point guard at FanDuel, but that's not where he plays. O'Shea Brissett is listed as a small forward at FanDuel, but he's going to be playing center for the most part for the Pacers. Both great plays there. Steph Curry now below 10K on FanDuel. Fantastic play, obviously. Jaylen Brown should be doing the heavy lifting for the Celtics with no Tatum, no Kemba Walker. You could maybe go cheap with Peyton Pritchard. Keep an eye if Luguentz Dort plays. He's going to be the Thunder's main man. If not, Isaiah Roby's been pretty reliable as a cheap play. And even though the Rockets I expect to lose, Kevin Porter Jr. returns tonight. Kelly Olynyk should do a pretty good job stretching the floor. He is one of their rare shooters. So I would give them a look at some cheap options as well.
Yeah, happy to see Kevin Porter Jr. back. Still waiting on Lou Dort back. A lot of nice mid-tier plays there that you can get for like under 7K for sure. So I'm feeling a lot of those tonight. That is all the time we have for today, y'all. As we mentioned, that gift card prop tonight is Steph Curry and Luka Doncic's combined points in that Mavs-Warriors game. Make sure you jump in the comments, like, and subscribe to be eligible for that. We'll have another show for you guys tomorrow. And as for tonight, happy betting.